and welcome back to an unboxing. While I was in Taiwan and Hong Kong, my biggest goal was literally just to get a pair of Loro Pianis. So if you live in Australia, you will know this. We do not actually have a physical store here. And because we don't have a physical store here, we don't have a website. We can't ship to Australia through Loro Piana directly. You can buy through third parties like Farfetch, My Teresa, I think Net-a-Porter for a while was stocking them. I don't believe they do anymore, but generally speaking, they stock a very limited size range and they typically only stock down to a European 36. Now, there are a couple sites that will stock children's sizes. They typically run up to a 34, but there's always a little note that says that the shoes run small and you should size up. And because of the pure fact that it's an absolute hassle to return things online, I just haven't bitten the bullet and bought anything in a 34. Before we go into the unboxing, I'm going to talk a little bit about the shopping experience. I ultimately picked up this pair from Taiwan. So I picked it up from the Taipei 101 store. It is worth mentioning that Taiwan as a country, their primary language is Mandarin. I grew up in a Cantonese speaking household, so doing this transaction in Mandarin was definitely not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I first went into the store, they had stock of Loro Piana shoes, and I basically shopped the same way that I do in Australia, which is typically a pull me what you have in a 34 so I know what my options are. And that's when I was told that they don't actually make women's down to a 34, but similar to the children's run, the sizes do tend to run on the smaller side and they start at a 35. So she was incredibly sweet and she was like, let's try on a 35 and see how that fits. I definitely was very, very hesitant. I've always, more so in like the last couple of years, I've been like, if it's not a 34, it's not my size and I'm not going to fit it. But I was like, you know what? I'm in another country. Unless I'm going to travel abroad again soon, I'm not really going to have this chance. So I bit the bullet and I was like, okay, let's put on a 35. And I will say, they definitely do tend to run small because the 35 fits so much closer to my actual foot size than I thought it would be. It's at that point that she tells me that because it's still a little bit loose, but it's not as loose as, I don't know how to explain this, but she basically said that there was enough space that if we put in an insole that it should fit me fine. And these insoles, at least for the Taiwan store, come complimentary. I can't speak for every other country, but I can only speak for Taiwan. Similar to the sales associate, she can only speak for Taiwan. But they come complimentary and we put them in and honestly, it was such a good fit. Then came the color choice. They had quite a few colorways in store and I was told they had quite a few of those options available in a 35, but being my first pair, I wanted to go with something a little bit more neutral, and so at that point I have to decide whether I want a darker neutral or a lighter neutral. The particular pairs that I was looking at were made of suede, so I ultimately went on the darker side because I don't actually know how easy or how difficult they are to clean, and at the end of the day it is a lot of money to spend on a pair of shoes. So let's move on to the unboxing. So I did manage to bring bag and ore back to the country with me. I will explain this little bauble in a second, but let's get started. I actually have not opened these since I got them because I was really paranoid about the tourist refund scheme in Taiwan, because you can actually get flagged at the airport and they can ask you to check that you did leave everything in as is condition. And then we got flooded. We were so busy in Hong Kong that I didn't really bother. Like, I just didn't see the point in opening them, knowing that I would have to break them in. So I wasn't going to wear them in Hong Kong anyway. Oh my god, I have literally been wanting to get a pair of these since before I went to Thailand last year. My original plan was trying to get them in Thailand, but it was just so out of the way from where we were staying that it wasn't really worth it. So we've got these gorgeous dust bags. These are actually going to get so dirty so quickly. You get two, one for each shoe. Like I always say, you can generally fit one pair in like one bag alone. It's up to you if you want to store them separately, but generally I only store my shoes in these bags when I'm traveling. Normally I would go ahead and read the information for you, but this was bought in Taiwan, as I mentioned previously. I might be able to speak the language, but I definitely can't read the language. So these are the insoles that I mentioned. As far as I was told by the SA, she is only aware that Taiwan provide them complimentary. They're not for sale, they just get provided. So I'm kind of hoping that some other countries do this, because if I really like Loro Piana and I go back and buy them elsewhere, I'm probably going to be facing the same problem with sizing. And here are the shoes. So it should come as no surprise that I picked up a pair of the summer walks. They've got the charms on them as well. I'll do a little close-up later. Now, this color looks like a black. I will say on camera, I can definitely see that it looks very black. But if you actually put it next to a pair of their shoes that are black, this is much more like a really, really dark navy blue. Now, this particular color, I don't actually have the name of the color, but I do have a color code. I don't know why I'm showing you that. It is the MB97. I'm gonna go online and see if I can find like a color name for it, but that's the code that is listed. So here are the shoes. Now, in terms of composition, the top part is 100% suede. I believe it's goat skin, and then the sole is a rubber sole. Now, I'm not going to be putting my name on these, but Loro Piana has a really cute little space here. If you want, you can grab a Sharpie and like write your name there. It literally says name right here, and I'm sure there's some people that do it, but I will not be. So these are a 35 as indicated by the sticker. I'm actually going to peel all of these stickers off because I feel like the sole will discolor really weirdly if I keep them on and then wear them and then decide to peel them off in like a week or something. So I'm currently on Hong Kong's Loro Piana website, and I'm just going to read some of the care instructions that have been left. So I'm just going to read it verbatim, and it says this product should be handled with care. To maintain the shape, use a shoe horn and alternate shoes daily. Exposure to the elements will alter the upper and sole. However, this is normal and what makes your Loro Piana shoes distinctive. To clean the suede upper, gently brush along the nape direction with a sponge, soft bristle shoe brush, or a cloth designed for cleaning suede. Wipe the soles clean with a damp cloth. Avoid using soap or chemical cleaning products. Do not machine wash. And to store, insert shoe trees or stuff with paper and place in separate cotton pouches. The next thing I'm going to show you, and I feel like this is only going to apply to people who need to use an insole, is how to actually put it in, because they tell you not to put it directly on top. So this sole here actually comes out. So you're going to take this one out, and then you're going to pop the insole in, and then this one on top of it. And that's pretty much what it looks like. You always want to make sure the embossed and logoed sole is the one on top. Now, when it comes to breaking in these shoes, like I said, this is the first pair that I've owned, and so I don't really know how that goes as far as personal experience. What I can say is the SA has recommended like just wearing it around the house or something for 2 weeks prior to putting these in. She said basically give it some time to break in the back before I go and stick this in, because right now there's a little bit of like wiggle room at the back, but once I stuff the insole in, it's pretty much an absolute perfect fit on me. I am going to discuss the price component next. So in the local currency, which is TWD, Taiwanese dollar, it is 33,400. Now that will vary depending on the country that you live in and the currency exchange rate you're using for your calculations. When we exchanged our currency, it was 19 Taiwanese dollar to the Australian dollar. So that comes out to roughly ballpark 1,757 Australian dollars. If you are a tourist, I've mentioned briefly the tourist refund scheme. It's a 4% refund, so that is an option that is available to you, keeping in mind that you can be randomly searched at the border as you leave the country, because the goods are supposed to be taken out of the country and not used at all in Taiwan. So looking at the cost compared to sites like My Teresa and Farfetch, it pretty much is the same price. So I think across the board, unless you're shopping in, I think Europe is generally the cheapest place to buy these shoes because they are European made. So if you know your size and you can find it online, it's probably just more convenient to buy it online. I keep going back to this, but if you are someone who needs an insole, I don't think that is an option online. I'm sure you could buy like insoles from like the chemist and stuff, but I'm pretty sure from memory those ones you actually have to cut yourself and kind of shape them a little bit. So yeah, like I said, only Taiwan, as far as I know, have these. So I think it's only really worth buying these overseas if you want to utilize some sort of a tax refund tourist scheme kind of benefit. Otherwise, the cost comes out pretty much the same across the board. Now, I know for a fact that I will probably most definitely want more of these shoes. I really like these silhouettes as they are. They kind of look somewhat similar to my Princetons, except my Princetons aren't loafers. They don't have the backing bit here at all. My debate now is, do I wait until someone I know goes overseas, or do I try and buy them online? There's also the option of a personal shopper, but I've never actually used one. I don't know anyone who's used one, so I don't know what their like upcharge or their, yeah, basically what their cost of services is. The other option I was told by the SA is to buy the kids 34 and just take this sole out and wear it without it. But I don't know how comfortable that's going to be, considering these are typically shoes worn without socks. So there are definitely options there for me if I want to buy more of them, but it really just depends on how patient I am. Now, earlier I mentioned I would talk a little bit about this bauble. So basically it was explained to me that Loro Piana is known for their wool and certain scents that they have. So this is something that you're actually meant to hang up in your wardrobe because it is scented. Like that, I can definitely say it definitely is scented, but it's supposed to make your clothes smell nice, and then every so often you have to take it back out and put it in the sun to like reactivate it. But yeah, it's just something you hang up. I'm definitely interested to know if like all of them smell like this. Because like, what if you get like 6 pairs and then you end up with like 6 different scents? But I don't know how to explain it. It is a very nice scent, but I've got, can we see that my descriptive words are not the best? But it definitely does smell nice. I don't know if I'm going to put it up though, because I have a feeling Bubs will hate this smell. Like, hate it. So that is it for today's video. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, please feel free to leave them down below. If not, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. Bye!